Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1-3 of May-June 2021 for paper 1 IGCSE at math. Now, with that being said, obviously, let's move on to questions number 1. So here, what do we have? Here we have to find the possible values of k such that the equation, this, has two different real roots. Now, since we have more than one root, we know that we have to use b squared minus 4ac have to be more than 0. Now, we know this is the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c, right? A, b, and c. Now, we just have to replace everything back in the equation. So b squared will be 4k squared minus 4 times a will be k, and times c will be 3k plus 1 more than 0. Now, next step, we have to simplify that equation. That will be 16k squared minus 4k times 3k plus 1 more than 0. Now, let's keep simplifying. That will be 16k squared minus, so 4 times 3 will be 12, k times k will be k squared. Now, minus 4k times plus 1, that should be minus 4k. Now, simplify. 16 minus 12 should be what? 4k squared, obviously, minus 4k have to be more than 0. Now, we know how we should solve this inequality. Pretty easy. We first have to find the critical values of k. So it means that we have to just take the same equation, equate that to 0. Now, we have to solve this by using factorizations. So I know 4 is common, k is also common. You will have k minus 1 have to be 0. So from here, 4k can be 0, or k minus 1 can be 0. K will be 0, and k will be the value of 1. Now, let's move on. Now, this is the critical values of k, which is not the answer. So it is just the limits of our values of k. Now, here we have the line of 0. Now, we do understand the shape of the graph here because the coefficient of k squared is positive. The graph will have a minimum shape. So we have to know this, right? Now, let's say if it was negative, the graph will have a maximum shape. Okay, here it is positive, it will be a minimum shape. Now, this is the first critical value. That should be 0, and that will be 1. Now, here the condition is have to be more than 0, have to be above, so you have to be this part and this part. So obviously, as you can see, k have to be less than 0, or k have to be more than 1 for this to be possible. Now, again, because I think no, so here we don't have equal sign. That will be good enough for your answer. That will be your question number 1. Now, let's move on to question number 2. So here we have to find d by dx of this. As you can see, this is a product of two functions. So obviously, we'll have to use the product rule. So pretty easy. We leave the first thing as it is and find d by dx of the second one plus the second one as it is multiplied by d by dx of the first one. That's how we apply the product rule. So this will be same thing, and that will be exponential 3x times 3 plus exponential 3x, and that will become 2x. Now, if you want to simplify, that will be 3x squared exponential 3x plus 2x exponential 3x. That will be part A of your question. Now, for part B, again, we have to differentiate this one. So step by step. First thing first, we have to multiply by the power. That should be 1 over 3. And then we have to minus 1 to the power. That should become minus 2 over 3. Then multiply by d by dx of the value inside. That will be 3x squared plus 4. That will give you 1 over 3, 3x squared plus 4 power minus 2 over 3. And this will become d by dx of this will become 6x, right? Now we can simplify this will go away. This will be 2. So you will have 2x times 3x squared plus 4 minus 2 over 3. This is obviously part 1 of your question. Now for part 2, hence, it means we have to use part 1 to find this answer. Now again, this kind of question, we have to understand that integration is a reverse process of differentiation. So what do I mean? I mean that if you observe these two, when we differentiate this one, we get this one. It also means if you were to integrate this one, right, you're supposed to get back this one. That's the main idea behind this. Now, the question here is we have to integrate this one. The only difference is we don't have a 2 here. There's no 2. So to cancel out the 2, we have to divide by 2 on both sides, right? Just to remove the 2. So you will have, from here you will have, so this will become finally, and this will become half 3x squared plus 4 power 1 over 3. Of course, we have the limits of 2, 0. That will be 2, 0. Now we have to simplify. Obviously, we can take out the half. Half is half, right? We don't need 2. And then this will have to be 3x squared plus 4 power 1/3, and then we have 2, 0. So 1 by 1, half is half. Let's first replace the values of 2. So you have 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. 1 over 3. Then minus 0. That will be 4. 1 over 3. Okay, so let's see what do we have. So we have to simplify 16 power 1 over 3 minus 4 power 1 over 3. That will be this. And then we have to divide by 2. That will be 0.466 as your answer. Correct to 3 decimal place. Okay, that will be your answer, 3SF. Now this is your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we have to solve the equation cosec square theta plus 2 cot square theta equal to 2 cot theta plus 9. Now here what can we use? There's obviously many ways to solve this question, but let's observe from the list of formula to see what do we have or what can we use to solve this one. So I do realize here we have something like this that we can use. Let me write this down. So on the list we have cosec square theta is equal to 1 plus cos square theta. So let's replace this by this. You will have 1 plus cos square theta plus 2 cos square theta is 2 cot theta plus 9. Now let's add everything to one side, obviously, or simplify. So that will be this plus this will be 3 cot square theta minus 2 cot theta. 1 minus 9 will be minus 8 is equal to 0. Now by observation, we do have a quadratic equation from what you can see right here. Let's solve that. So we have to solve by factorization. That will be 3 cot theta and then cot theta over here. 8 is 1 times 8, or it can be 2 times 4. Let's see which pair we have to choose so we can get minus 2 over here. So by observation, we can choose this one. That will be 2 here and 4 here, right? Because 3 times 2 will be 6. We have to have minus 6, then plus 4 to get minus 2. So cot theta is equal to minus 4 over 3. And cot theta will be the value of 2. Now, from this point on, we do understand that what is cot theta? It is simply 1 over tan theta. So finally, we can convert cot to tan. So tan theta will be minus 3 over 4. Tan theta will be 1 over 2. So now we can solve one by one to find the values of theta. Now for this one, tan is positive. It will be in the first quadrant, And in the third quadrant, this will be the angle directly, and this will be what? This will be the value of pi plus the angle. So one by one, tan inverse of half. Let's see, what do we get? Okay, so that was my apologies. So tan inverse of 0.5, that will give you 26.5. 6. So let's see if we can find the exact value of the angle. So because we do know what? We do know that the tan, for example, usually we have, okay, here we have to use radians. My apologies. Because here we have radians. Let's just not use degrees here. So radians, that will be 0.4636. So theta will be 0.464, correct, to 3SF. It can be this one, or it can be this one, pi plus this. 3.61. Right, so two values that we can have for theta. Now, how about this one? Again, this is not the answer yet because we also have to look into this for the domain. Let's find out. Minus pi divided by 2, that is minus 1.57. This is 1.57. This is the domain we have to, so this is where the value of theta have to lie between. Now how about this one? So here we can see the value of tan is negative. So it will be in the second quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. So this will be the angle of, so pi minus alpha, and this is 2 pi minus alpha. Again, alpha is not the angle yet, because the reason why I use a fake angle is because here we have this sign of minus. Again, it is just my method of doing this. If you guys know other method, you can always choose your own method to solve this question. So here I will first find the value of alpha. That will be tan inverse of 3 positive 3 over 4. So alpha will be 0.644. So finally, according to my quadrants, theta have to be, first one will be pi minus 0.644, that should be 2.498, or it can be 2 pi minus 0.644, that would be 5.639. Okay, so let me write down all the values of theta we have right now. So we have the values of theta can be 0.464, it can be 2.50, 3.61, and it can be 5.664. Right. Now, usually I would not do much if I didn't have the negative side. So because we have also a negative side to look into, I have to check what are the possible values we can also have if we were to find the angle in the other direction. So to find that, we just have to minus 2 pi to each of them to see what angles can we also have as the answer. 0.464 minus 2 pi, that will be, let me use blue, that will be minus 5.82, that will be too much. 2.5 minus 2 pi, that will be minus 3.78, too much. 3.61 minus 2 pi, now be minus 2.67, too much. 5.64 minus 2 pi, that should be minus 0.643. That is actually inside of the required domain. So here we have to recall that theta lies between minus 1.57 and 1.57. Okay, so according to this, theta will have to be, this is okay, 0.464. This is too much, this is too much, and this is too much. This is too much, too much, too much, and this is okay, minus 0.643. So only two possible values of theta will be inside of this domain. Again, the reason why I minus 2 pi is I want to know if I do have the angles. It is the same angle. So when you minus 2 pi, you don't change the angle. It's the same angle, but in the other direction, if that makes sense. So we just minus to see if actually it lies between the domain, and we check. So we have only two of the values which is inside. And that will be your value for question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So here we have to find the first 3 non-zero terms in this expansion in ascending powers of x. Pretty easy. First 3 terms of 6, choose 0. X squared over 4, that will be 0 here, that will be 6. 6, choose 1, that will be 2 minus x squared, or 4, that should be 1, and that should be 5. And finally, 6, choose 2, that will be 2 and 4. Now simplify, this will become 1. 2 power 6 will be 64, and that will be 1. So anything power 0 is 1. Now 6 choose 1 is 6, and that will be 32. And that will be minus x squared over 4. Now plus 6 choose 2 will be 15, and that will be 16. That will be x power 4 over 16. Simplified, this and this will cancel out. This and this will cancel out. So you will have 64 minus 6 times 8 will be minus 48 x squared, and here we have plus 15 x power 4. That will be question part A. Now let's move on to part B. So hence we have to find the term independent in x, the term which has no x, 0x, in this expansion. So one by one, how would you expand this? So let's think. First we can try to expand this and see what happens. You will have, if you expand this one, that will be 9 minus 6 over x squared plus 1 over x power 4. Right. Now this time this will be what? Will be 1 by 1, that will be 9 times this thing minus 6 over this one times this thing, right? And then we have plus 1 over x power 4 times this thing. That's how you would usually expand the whole thing. But now here in this expansion, we only care about the term with no x. So let's choose. We know this is the first 3 terms of this expansion, so we can use that to solve this. If I take 9, I have to multiply by a constant, 64. So we have no x. Here we have 6 over x squared. We have to choose the one with the term in x squared. And the same thing here, 1 over x power 4. We have to choose the one with the term in x power 4. So we can cancel out these, and these. So we end up with the term with no x. That will become 9 times 6, 4. That should be 5, 7, 6. Minus 6 times minus 48. That will be this plus 15. 576 plus 288 plus 15. That will be 879 will be your answer for the term with no x. Okay, that will be your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here what do we have? So here when e power y is plotted against x squared, a straight line graph is obtained passing through those 2 points. This and this is obtained. Now we have to use that to find y in terms of x. Again, it is just a linear law. We have to understand what's happening, right? So for example here, to find the equation of a straight line graph, we have to find the gradient. So here we have to use this. The gradient will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 10 minus 5 is 5 divided by 4.74 minus 2.24. That will be 2. This is the gradient of that straight line. Now obviously to find the equation we have to use a passing point. Let's use this point, 2.24, and then here we have 5. This is the, obviously this is the x value and this is the y value, because usually when you have y against x, that will be the x value and the y value normally, right? But here we have e power y against x squared, so obviously you will have this corresponding values for those two, if that makes sense, right? So how would you find the equation? You would take this one minus this corresponding value over x squared minus 2.24. Have to equate to the value of the gradient. Again, this is my method of finding the equation of a straight line, but usually you need to find the gradient and you have to have a passing point to find the equation of a straight line. That's the idea behind. Now we have to cross multiply. You will have e power minus 5 2x squared minus, so 2.24 times 2, 4.48. Now you will have exponential y is equal to 2x squared minus 4.48 plus 5, that should be 0.52. And finally, y will be ln of the whole thing. That will be y in terms of x. As you can see right here, y in terms of x. Okay, that will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. So this one seems to be a circular measure question. Let's see what do we have. So the diagram shows a circle of center O and radius 2a. Radius 2a, 2a. Okay, so if this is 2a, this is also 2a because it is the radius, so a and a, right? And this is 2a. It means we have an equilateral triangle, which is all the angles are equal and all the sides are equal. The angle here will have to be 60 degrees, which is also pi by 3 radians. Now what else do we need to know? So here we have the points A and B lie on the circumference of the circle. The points C and D are the midpoints of the lines OB and OA respectively. The arc DC is a part of the circle center O right here, and the chord AB is 2A right here. So part 1, we have to find the angle AOB, giving you answer in this. So AOB, as we have seen, it is pi by 3, because we know that triangle AOB is equilateral triangle. That's the reason why it will be pi by 3. Now for part B, find in terms of A and pi, so A and pi, the perimeter of the region. So how would you find the distance around this region? So I guess pretty easy, right? So we have to find this distance, and that's it. We have to find this one. That will be what? That is the length of arc, right? That will be r times theta. So r is radius A of the sector ODC is A, and then the angle is pi over 3. That will be A over 3 pi for the length of this one. So finally the perimeter will be this one. That will be A over 3 plus this one and this one. That will be 2A, and this one, that will be 2A. The answer will be 4A plus A over 3 pi centimeters. That will be part B of your question. Now let's move on. Part C, we have to find in terms of A and pi again, the area of the region. So how would you find the area? Well, let's think. It is always a step by step of how we can find that. So we can first find the area of the triangle and minus the area of this one. So let's call the area of the triangle triangle OAB as the big triangle. That will be, how would you find out? You can use your formula, which is half times sine of the angle in between, which is pi over 3, and times the two sides. That will be 2a times 2a. That will be cancel out here. What is sine of 60? Sine of 60 degrees, that is this value. So we know this value is exact, so sine of 60, that will actually be root 3 over 2. You have root 3 over 2 times 2a, and here we have a as well. This will go away and you'll have root 3 a squared. So the area of the triangle is root 3 a squared. Now we have to remove this one, which we don't need, which is the area of the sector. That will be area of sector DOC. That will be half r squared. The angle is pi over 3. That will be a squared over 6 pi. So finally, the area, we take the whole thing, which is area of triangle, root 3 a squared minus a squared over 6 pi. That will be centimeters square for the area. And that will be your question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So let's see, what do we have here. So here we have a committee of 8 people is to be formed from 5 teachers, 4 doctors, and 3 police officers. So let's add them together. So 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12. So together will be 12 people. Well, we can check. 5 plus 4 plus 3 will be 12. Now, we have to find the number of different committees that could be chosen if condition number 1, all the doctors have to be on the committee. So we have to choose all the 4 doctors. So here we have 5 teachers. We have 4 doctors here. And here we have 3 police officers. Now the condition is we need 4 doctors from this one. Pretty easy. And we need 4 from these 2. Because we need to choose from the rest. That makes sense. In total, we need 8 people. So here we have 5 plus 3 is 8. From 8 people, we need to choose 4. And from the 4 doctors, we need to choose all the 4 doctors. So 8 choose 4 times 4 choose 4. That will be 70. As your answer. Now for part 2, there are at least 2 teachers in the committee. So at least means more equal to 2. So we have teachers here. We have 5 teachers, and the remaining people will be 3 plus 4 is 7 people. So 7 remaining people, 7 remaining. So we can choose 2 teachers. We have to choose 6 people here. We can choose 3 teachers. We have to choose 5. 4 teachers. We have to choose 4 here. We can choose 5 teachers. We have to choose 3 here. We can choose 6 teachers. We have to choose 2 here. But this is not possible because we have only 5 teachers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cases to look at. So for the first case will be 5 choose 2 times 7 choose 6. 5 choose 3, 4 7 choose 5. 5 choose 4, 7 choose 4. 5 choose 5 times 7 choose 3. So 5 choose 2 times 7 choose 6. That will be 70. 5 choose 3 times 7 choose 5. To 10. 5 choose 4 times 7 choose 4. Choose 5 times 7 choose 35. 70 plus 210 plus 175 plus 35. That will be 490 as your answer after looking at all the cases possible. There's obviously other ways of doing this question. It is up to you to choose which one you like to use. Now for part B, here we have this equation. We have to find the value of n. So here we just have to know what does this mean, right? So what is the formula of this one? Permutation. So in this case, I don't believe they gave you that on your list, but there's a formula we have to know for permutation. Here we have n permutation of p items is equal to 6 times, so you get 6 times n minus 1 permutation of 4 items. So let's think, how can we do that? So sometimes we just have to know. For example, let's recall, usually what does that mean? Let's say we have 8 items permuted 5. That means 8 factorial divided by 5 factorial. Let's check. 8 permuted 5 is this one. If you take 8 factorial divided by 5 factorial, oh, not right. Not supposed to get the same thing. Maybe it's the other way around. Let's check. That will be 8 times this times this. So divided by actually 3. My apologies. 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial. Yep, exactly. This is the other way around. So for example, it will have to be, if that was n, permutate r have to be n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. If that makes sense. That is the usual way. That is the formula we have to know to solve this question. Again, it's not given to you, but you can always be intuitive about it and solve to see which one is correct, right? So that's the main idea behind solving this one. So let's try to simplify one by one. So here we have n p5. According to this one, it's the same thing as n factorial divided by n minus 5 factorial. How about this one? N minus 1 p4. Same thing as n minus 1 factorial over n minus 1 minus 4 factorial, which is equal to n minus 1 factorial over n minus 5 factorial. Now just replace everything back in the equation. So on this side you will have n factorial over n minus 5 factorial is equal to 6. This will be n minus 1 factorial over the value of n minus 5 factorial. So these two will cancel out, and you will have with this two. Now we have to understand what is n factorial. N factorial is same thing as n times n minus 1 factorial. Replace, you will have n times n minus 1 factorial is 6 n minus 1 factorial. So these two will cancel out, and will be the value of 6. Okay, so basically, yeah, we just have to know how to break this down, because usually we are given with n choose all. This we know. But this one, usually it is not given to you. We have to maybe use your intuition. For example, here I was able to think of something and it came up with that, but if you don't memorize it, obviously. But usually you have to know, and then finally we have to break it down, replace, and you will end up with this value as your value of n. And that will be your question number 7. Now let's move on with question number 8. So the graph shows the curve y is equal to a cos bx plus c. Fair enough. Okay. For the value of x between 0 and 2.8. 2.8. Okay. So this is the value here of 2.8. Right? Yep, 2.8. Okay, fair enough. Now where a and b and c are constants, okay, fair enough, and x is in radians. The angle x will be radians. Now, the curve meets the y-axis at the point this. Okay, this is a passing point that we can use, and the x-axis at the point of this. So we can use these 2 points as well to help us find this one. The curve has a minimum at q. Now the period of the curve is this, pi radians. So we have to use these values to find the value of a, b, and c. So we can first use this one. How do you find the period of a curve? At least of a cos curve, pretty easy. You will take 2 pi, divide by the value of b, that will give you the period, which is equal to pi in this case. Which means you have b pi is equal to 2 pi, so b will be the value of 2. This is the first value we have. Okay, now moving on, we have a cos 2x plus c is my new equation, because we know the value of b now. That will be y. Now we can use these two passing points to find the value of a and b. So for the first one, that will be the value of x and y. Replace, y will be 3 when x is 0. That will be 3. So what is cos of 0? Cos of 0 will be 1 actually. That will be a plus c. Right? This is my first equation. Now for this one, this is my x and y value. Y will be 0. Here we have a cos of 2x 5 pi over 6 plus c. So we have cos of 2 times 5 pi over 6. We have to use radians here. That will be this, 0.5. So you have 0 will be half of a plus c. Which means c have to be minus 0.5a. Equation number 2. Now we can use these two equations to find the value of a and c. Pretty easy. Replace back in here. You have 3 is equal to a plus c. C is 0.5a, which means 0.5a is equal to 3, which means a will have to be the value of 6, and c will have to be 0.5 times 6, that will be minus 3. So finally we have c as minus 3 and a as the value of 6. So these are the value of my equation. Okay, so that will be it for part A of the question. Now for part B, we have to find the coordinates of P. Okay, so of P, we can use kind of symmetry here if you want to. Up to you. P is what? P is the point at here. So let's see. Now we have the equation as, where is it? We have A, which is the value of 6. And we have the value of cos 2x. C is minus 3. Okay. That will be my equation for y. Now on the x-axis, the value of y is 0. That will be 0. Oh yeah, we can also solve, by the way. We can also solve just to find this value. It is up to you, right? That will become 0.6 cos 2x minus 3. So cos 2x will be the value of half. So 2x will be, cos inverse of half will be pi over 3. So x can also be pi over 6. That value here will be pi over 6. Again, this is one of the ways to find this. Obviously, we can use the graph itself to find this as well. Now this will be this one. This is the point P. Now let's move on to find the point Q. Now the point Q, you can see Q is the minimum point of the graph. Now we can look at this graph itself. There's many ways to solve this. We can find dy by dx if you want to, or we can just try to solve this directly as well. So no big deal. For example, our graph is y equal to the value of 6 cos 2x minus 3. Now we know the value of cos 2x is between the value of minus 1 and 1. So when do you think it will have a minimum value? Obviously, it will be minimum when this will be minus 1. So that will become minus 6 minus 3, and that will be minus 9. So y will be value of minus 9. Now what is the value of x? It will be exactly in between, because we have to know these graphs are symmetric. So 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6 divided by 2, that will be half. Half, which is pi by 2, by the way, because here we have pi, don't forget that. So the point Q, symmetric, that will be pi over 2, and then minus 9 for the minimum point. Again, this is one of the ways of doing this. We can also find dy by dx, solve to find this as well. And that will be your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to show the equation of the curve can be written in this form. So we just have to expand. So first thing first, this times this will become x power 3 minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. So as you can see, the value of a here is minus 2, value of b here is minus 4. So hence find the exact coordinates of stationary points on the curve. So as we guys know, at stationary points, what happens? dy by dx is 0, so dy by dx will be 3x squared minus 4x. Minus 4 have to be 0, so factorize 3x times x, that will be 2 times 2. To get minus 4, we have to have minus 6 plus 2. X will be minus 2 over 3. X will be the value of 2. Now let's find the corresponding value of y. So y will be, replaced back in here, you will have minus 2 over this. So this square minus 4 times, so again 2 over 3 is the answer is right. So here we have to replace one by one. So here we have minus 2 over 3 minus 4, that will be 4 over 9 minus 4 multiplied by minus 2 over 3 minus 2. 4 over 9 minus 4 times minus 2 over 3 minus 2. That will be 9, 13 over 27 for the first value. Now for this one, y will be 4 minus 4, and the rest we don't care because it will be 0. So the two stationary points will be, the first one is minus 2 over 3, and then let's simplify. 9 times 27 plus 13, that will be 256 over 27, and this will become 20. But let's check. I'm not too sure if that's okay. Let me double check. So here we have 4 over 9, obviously, minus the value of 4, then multiply by minus 2 over 3 minus 2. That will be indeed the same value. So this is the stationary points on the curve. Fair enough. Now for point B, we have to sketch the graph on the graph stating the intercepts with on the coordinate axis. So we have to show the intercepts, y-intercepts and also the x-intercepts. So the points where it cuts the y-axis and the x-axis. Now as you can see, we have a few points here. So when this is the stationary points, but we also have to know here when from this equation, right? So when on the x-axis y is 0, right? So the value of x will be what? Here you can see x will be the value of 2, or it can be x squared minus 4 will be 0. So x will be the value of, from here you will have x can be plus minus 2. Will be minus 2 or plus 2. Same thing. Now we can mark this down here, so it could be the value of minus 2, or it could be the value of 2 approximately. Again, for this graph question, take your time, use a pencil, and understand what's happening one by one. Now on the y-axis, when the value of x is 0, y will be 8. So let's say 8 is somewhere over here. Somewhere over here. Why not? Now we have to try our best to sketch this graph. Now here you can see here we have what? We have minus 2 over 3 will be somewhere over here, right inside here, and the graph will be on top here. So be something like this. 9, this is 9, should be somewhere over here, for example. Right, and we have to show, we also have to show it cuts this one. Again, it's not perfect. My graph shape is not perfect. This is the first step. Now the other point is 2, 0 will be my other stationary point. So this is the other turning point. That should be something like this. That makes sense. Should go all the way up. Right. Now for this one here, usually this will keep going down, obviously, but we understand that modulus means everything down will be up, so it will be reflected upwards like this, and then keep going on as you go. So that will be the modulus graph of this one. Okay, if that makes sense. So at first we draw this according to what we have over here, and then we understand that usually this one have to keep going down, but for the part that is down, it will be reflected upwards because it is a modulus graph. That is part B of your question. Okay, now let's move on. So for part C, we have to find the possible values of k for which this equation, which means the graph, has exactly 4 different solutions. So by observation, you can see that here I will have 2 solutions. Here you have 4 solutions, 4 solutions, 4 solutions before this point. This point is the point what? The maximum point is 9, this, 27. So you can see When k is between those values, this and this, we have 4 solutions. So k will have to be between the value of 0 and 9, 13 over 27. So between those two values, k will have, the equation equal to k will have exactly 4 solutions. So again, what does that mean? It means that if you were to draw a straight line, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of intersection, hence 4 solutions. But if you draw a straight line here, you have only 2 points. It is only 2, so not 4, not good enough. If you draw a straight line here, you have 1, 2, and 3, not good enough. So only between those two, we will have 4. So again, here you go. Between those two, you will have your 4 solutions. And that will be your question number 9. So let's move on to question number 10. So the diagram shows OABC, so OABC. And we have OA is A, OC is C, the point D lies on BC, such that we have the ratio of CD is 3 to 1. Great. Now something we can derive right away is that because we know that OABC is a parallelogram, so we understand that AB is also C, and we know that CB have to be A as well. So which means CD have to be 3 over 4A, and or we can know also BD will have to be 1 over 4A. So this can be derived from the given information. Now let's move on. So when extended, the lines AB and OD meet at the point E. So as you can see, they meet at the point E right here. It is given that OE is H times OD and B is K times AB, where H and K are constants. Okay, good to know. Now part 1, we have to find D in terms of A, C, and D, and an H, sorry, A, C, and H. Now where we have H only in this one, so we have to use this to find D. Now D is only this part. Now we can observe, how can you find D? So by observation, you can see we can find D by first finding OE, the whole thing, minus OD. Right? So let's find these two. So let me write this down. So what is the value of OD? O going to D will be O going to C plus C going to D. That will be OC is C plus CD is 3 over 4A, which is 3 over 4A plus C. Fair enough. Then replace back in the main equation. So D will have to be OE. OE is given to you by H times OD, which is 3 over 4A plus C, and plus, so plus is minus, and minus OD. Minus OD is 3 over 4A plus C. Now we can obviously simplify if you want to. That will be what? 3 over 4 HA plus HC minus 3 over 4A minus C. Let's put this together. You will have 3 over 4, and then we have A. So we have H minus 1A, if that makes sense. We factorize those two together. And then you have factorize C outside, you will have H minus 1C. Right, so we have this as D. So this, we can factorize these two, which is taking out these two are the same, and these two are the same. You'll have H minus 1 inside, and same thing for this one, you will have this. So D in terms of A, C, and H, so A, C, and H will be this one. Let's move on. So here we have to find D in terms of A, C, and K. So D in terms of A, C, and K. So here we have K. We can see B, E is K times AB. So pretty easy. K times AB. So what is AB? AB is given to you by C. So we know that B have to be KC. Now obviously here we have to find D by observation DE, that could be DB plus BE, right? So DE, that could be DB plus BE. So DB, we have seen that will be the value of 1 over 4A plus BE, that will be K times C. So this is your value of part B. Let's move on. So we have to use that to find the value of H and K. So pretty easy. So from part A, we realized that D was found to be 3 over 4 H minus 1A plus H minus 1 times C. But we do understand that D is the same as this D, so we can equate and compare which one is which. For example, by comparison, we can see here, in front of A we have 1 over 4, in front of A we have this. It means that 1 over 4 has to be the same thing as 3 over 4H times 1. So simplify, this and this will cancel out, so you have 1 is equal to 3, H minus 1. So divide by 3, you have 1 over 3, that will be H minus this. H will be 1 over 3 plus 1, that should be 4 over 3. Now continue here. Is this one. In front of C we have this, in front of C we have this. So by comparison, K will have to be H minus 1. H is 4 over 3 minus 1, that will be 1 over 3. So as you can see, the value of H is 4 over 3 and the value of K will be 1 over 3. And that is your question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. The line x plus 2y is equal to 10 intersects two lines satisfying this equation. Now, so we have to understand that what does this actually means. For example, when you have modulus of y equal to 2, it can mean y is equal to 2, or it can mean y is equal to minus 2. So that's the meaning behind this, why we have two equations. It means that the first equation can be x plus y is equal to 2, or it can also mean x plus y is equal to minus 2 for the second equation. So now we have to find the points of intersection for the first line and for the second line. Okay, so let's see. So for this one, here we have x plus 2y is 10. Now let's make x become subject, so x will become 2 minus y. Replace back in here, you will have 2 minus y plus 2y have to be 10. So check. 2 plus y have to be 10 and y have to be 8. Now let's find the corresponding value of x. So x will be, x would replace back in here, you will have 2 minus 8, that will be minus 6. So your point A, that will be minus 6, 8. Now for this one, same steps. Here we have x plus 2y is 10. Make this become subject, you have x will be minus 2 minus y. Replace, you will have minus 2 minus y plus 2y have to be 10. Y will have to be 12 and x have to be minus 2 minus 12 have to be minus 14. So the value of b will have to be minus 14 and the value of y is 12. Usually I will call this one A and call this one B because of the x value here. This one comes first, this one comes second. But again, no big deal if you did that. Anyway, so let's move on to the question itself. So we have to show the point C lies on the perpendicular bisector of AB. So let's find out. We have to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. So for example, let's say we have the point A here and the point B here. We join them. Now we have to understand the perpendicular bisector is a line passing through the midpoint of AB at 90 degrees, right? So this is the midpoint. So let's first find this midpoint. So midpoint will be what? Pretty easy. We use our formula, which is x1 plus x2. That will be minus 20 divided by 2, y1 plus y2, so that is again 20 divided by 2. That will be midpoint will be minus 10 and 10. So this is minus 10 and 10 for the midpoint of that 2 points of the line AB, of the points AB. Now, so to show that C lies on the bisector, on the perpendicular bisector, we first have to find the equation of the bisector. Now, to find the equation of a straight line, we have to find the gradient of the bisector. But to find this, we can first find the gradient of the line AB. That will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 12 minus 8 will be what? Let's see. 12 minus 8, that will be 4, divided by minus 14 minus 6, that will be minus 8. That will be minus half. So hence, gradient of B will be the value of 2 of the bisector, right? So now we have this, we have the passing point minus 10, 10. We can find the equation. That will be y minus this corresponding value over x minus 10 will be plus 10 equal to its gradient. Now we cross multiply, you will have y minus 10 have to be 2x plus 20. Y will be 2x plus 30. So that is my equation of the perpendicular bisector. Now we have to show the point C, which is given to you by minus 5, 20, lies on that. So let's first check. When x is equal to 5, you're supposed to get 20, but let's check. Let x equal to minus 5. Let's see what happened. You have y is equal to 2 times minus 5 plus 30. That will be minus 10 plus 30, and that is indeed equal to 20. So we can say this is shown as required. C lies on the perpendicular bisector of the line AB. That is part A of the question. Now let's move on to part B of your question. Here what do we have? We have the point D also lies on the perpendicular bisector. Now let me draw this again because it is kind of helpful. This is the line AB, for example. And then we have a perpendicular bisector right here. Right? This is my midpoint. So the point D also lies on this one. Let's say the point D, so here we have two possible values of D, as you can see. Let's do one by one. So we know that M is a midpoint, great. We know that the distance CD is 3 times the distance of CM. So C is a point on the line. So let's choose a position for that. For example, let's say C lies over here. C was given to you by minus 5. I think it should be here, but anyways, no big deal. 20. Right. The midpoint was given to you by the value of minus 10, 10. Now we are being told that the distance distance CD is 3 times distance CM. Okay? So let's use this equation to find the value of D. Now the point D we don't know. D, obviously that will be my x and y values, right? So let's first find distance CM. So we have the point C, we have the point M, we can find distance pretty easily. That will be root. That will be this, so y2 minus y1 square. So 20 minus 10 square, that should be 100, plus minus 5 minus 10, so minus 5 minus 10 square, that will be 25. That will be root of 125. Now same way, for this one, CD, it will be root of, because D we don't know, right, it is xy, we don't know, we just do the same procedure. So here we have y2 minus y1, so 20 minus y square plus x2 minus x1 square. This will be the length of CD. So let's kind of leave this like that for now. let's replace back in our main equation for this one. So we know on the left hand side you have root of 20 minus y squared minus 5 minus x squared, right, is equal to 3 times root of 125. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can try to square both sides. So we can cancel out these square roots. So here you will have 20 minus y squared plus minus 5 minus x squared have to be 9 times 125. Okay, let's see what can we do here. So 9 times 125, you will have 1125. Okay, now let's see how can we solve this one by one. So in this case, this is kind of interesting because we don't know much about the points at all, but there must be obviously a way to find the answer. So the distance CD is 3 times the distance CM. So we found the distance CM already. Now we just have to find the possible values of x and y for D. Okay, so right now we have the issue. So here we have 20 minus y squared plus minus 5 minus this square. This is my equation that we have to solve to find the value of x and y. Again, this is equation number 1. So how can we find equation number 2 in order to solve this question? Let's think. So now, as you can see, the point D, it lies on the perpendicular bisector. As you can see, this is equation number 2. Right? So it means that what is the equation of the bisector? It is y is equal to 2x plus 30. That is my equation number 2. So we can use that to solve. Let's replace y by this. So you will have 20 minus y will be 2x minus 30. Then we can expand this one. That will become 25 plus the value of 10x plus x squared. That will be 1125. And this will become 20, this is minus 2x, 20 minus 10 will be minus 30 will be minus 10 squared plus 25 plus 10x plus x squared will be minus 1125. Now again we have to simplify again. That will become 4x squared plus 40x plus 100 plus 25 plus 10x plus x squared have to be 1125. So simplify. So this plus this will be 5x squared. This plus this will be plus 50x, and this will be plus 125 is equal to 1125. Send everything to one side. You will have 5x squared plus 50x, and then we have minus 1000, because obviously this minus this will be minus 1000. Now to simplify, because everything can be, or everything is divisible by 5, we can divide by 5 everywhere. You will have x squared plus 10x minus, that will be 200. Now we can factorize and see what happens. That will be x times x. So 200 can be what? 200 divided by 40. 200 divided by 10. That will be this one. So perfect. That will be 10 or 20. To get plus 10, we have to have plus 20 minus 10. So x can be 10. X can be minus 20. So two values possible. Hence, the value of y, replace back in your main equation here, this one. That will be 2 times 10 plus 30. That will be 50, or 2 times minus 20 plus 30. That should be minus 10. Minus 40 plus 10. So the 2 points, D can be 10, 50, or D can be minus 20, minus 10. And these will be the two values of the possible derive according to the information given to you. And this is the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.